Hello everyone and welcome back to another tips and tricks video here on Conan Exiles. We're continuing our little mini series looking at different bits of crafting and things that you can do in the game, especially for beginners, veteran players. You may find this interesting as well, as I know I enjoy making them, but this is aimed for somebody who's slightly new to the game or even considering just starting out, and we'll look at things to do with different flowers and a bit of growing your own garden type of stuff today. So I hope you found this useful. If you do, leave a big thumbs up on this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you do. Just helps me know whether you guys want to see more of this content, and why not subscribe if you haven't already while you're there. Alright, well with that out of the way, let's get right into today's video, and ignore these few bits behind me at the moment. These are actually for another video, so if you want to know what they are, if you're a regular player you probably already know, but if you are new, if you want to know what those stations behind me are all about, that's for another video, so stay tuned for that one. As I say, subscribe if you haven't, and then you'll know when that one comes out. But yeah, so today we're talking about growing your own garden. Now there are a lot more of these here, what we call lotus flowers or lotus blossom, around the map. Lots of different colours that you can get. They do various different things, but there's too many to go through them all now. So I just thought in this video I would highlight sort of the main ones that will be beneficial to you. It's certainly early to mid game, and yeah, probably end game as well, but more so at the very beginning. Give you an idea of where you can get them and how to grow them yourself, so you don't have to keep going. If your base is nowhere near one of the locations where these spawn, you won't have to keep going back, because you can actually get the seeds from the plants and you can grow them yourself in your base, which makes them a heck of a lot easier and a lot more convenient for you to use. So just for 3 examples here, as you can see, we've got the yellow lotus there, we've got black lotus, and we've also got grey lotus. And as I say, at the end of this video I'll quickly tell you where you can get some of these from, or certainly the easiest way to get them early on in the game, and how you grow them, because it isn't just a case of stick them in these plant pots as these are. You can see there are seeds and in the middle, and then they blossom on the right, and also something on the left there called compost, but that is actually called potent compost, which we'll get into the detail on that in a minute, but we'll start with the basics first. So you've unlocked your farming knowledge, I believe it's called, but we're calling it gardening because it sounds posher. But yeah, your farming knowledge, you'd make your first planter, which is this one. As you can see there, the crude planter. And then what you can do is you can take, for example, some aloe leaves. So if you've been out and about and you've collected some of these green aloe leaves, you can take some of these, pop them in your planter, but of course, as you can see there, nothing happens. Yes, they look pretty, you can only see the leaves, but nothing's happening. Why are they not changing or doing anything? That's because we need compost. This one is the planter, which is your next upgrade from the very first unlock. And then this is the improved planter, which is like your stage 3 of your planters you can get. This is the best one you can use. The difference with these is anything you plant in the crude planter will take a long time to grow. The planter just reduces the time very slowly, and again the improved planter again reduces the time even more. Still takes a little while, but it reduces the time even more that it will take to grow anything. So we put our planter down. Let's just say we've got ourselves some seeds. Do I have any in here? Thought I had some in here, but I don't think I do. Oh yes, there we go. As you see there, aloe seeds. I'll borrow these from here for a minute. So we've put our planter down, we've got ourselves some seeds, I've been collecting some aloe, we've put them in with our aloe leaves, nothing's happening. Why is that? That's because, as I say, we need some compost. And how do we get compost? Well, you need to make yourself one of these. compost heap. So you place this down, and then as you can see you can access it, and it shows you on the right hand side there the items that you can put in here and the space that it has. So what we now need to do is make some compost. Now to get compost we're going to need bone meal, and bone meal, which is this here. We'll talk about these little bits in a second. And you get that from making yourself a grinder, and you place bones into the grinder. So any bones that you pick up from any animals or humans that you kill, or out of boxes that you find in the world, place them in the grinder. And if I just take that out a second, you'll see there that it'll start to craft us some bone meal. Another thing while we're here that this grinder is useful for is if you put plant fibre in there. As you can see there, it's also queuing something else, and that is spice, which is something to do with cooking that you need later on in the game, but that's how you get spice. And the other thing you can make with your grinder is salt, and all you need for that is stone, so regular old stone. Chuck it in your grinder and it'll turn it into salt for you. So we've got one of our ingredients there, bone meal. We also need plant fibre. Oops, that's the wrong box. I've got some here. And the third ingredient you will need is putrid meat. Now putrid meat you can get from any meat that will go off in your base, that you've left on your fire or in boxes anywhere. If you want to keep it so it doesn't go off, place it in either an improved preservation box if in a later game you have one of these, or just a regular preservation box with some ice in it, and it will actually keep it for you. So what we want to do here, the order I like to do it, doesn't matter how you put it in, just this is how I like to do it, is go with plant fibre, bone meal, and then finally putrid meat. And as you'll see at the bottom right there, something starts to happen. And you could go off and do some other jobs or go out and do some other things when you need to, but as you can see on the left there it says that we are crafting compost, so eventually this will make us some compost. On regular servers it'll take the default time, however long that is. If you've got servers where the crafting time is sped up slightly, then obviously that will take slightly less time to make, and that will produce you your compost. If I just go to this a minute here, there's another bin that I've got. As you can see there, we've got some compost, and this also, when you produce your compost, will produce fat grubs, which are okay sort of for fishing. I think you can use them for lots of other things as well. You can also now put them on the improved tanner's table and turn them into silk, but that's if you've got a lot of them. But if we just take some of this compost from here, like that, as you can see nothing's happening there, but as we can see that's still crafting away. If we then place this compost in our planter, as we'll see at the bottom right there, you can now see it shows some aloe leaves, excuse me. And what this will do is, this is essentially making, with those seeds and the compost, it's now producing some aloe leaves, which are there, which we can see those growing. So once those are grown, what you can do is, if you end up with a lot like this, if you want to keep getting aloe seeds so you don't have to keep farming them, what you want to do is, if you have one of these in your base called a drying rack, you want to pop your aloe leaves in your drying rack with some bark, as you can see there, activate it, and as you'll see at the bottom right there, that is going to produce some aloe seeds for us. So each time you produce so much aloe, you can put the seed leaves into here. That will turn them into seeds, which in turn you can obviously add back to your planter to give you more seeds, which will keep producing even more aloe. So as you see, as we go up there, crude planter has the 10 slots, planter's got 15, and then we get the 30 slots in the big planter there. So that is how we do that. Storage boxes are just great for storage, by the way, if you need any. Now, if we want to make, for example, some of these, as we talked about with Gyro Lotus, you can't just grow these with regular compost. If you try and put some yellow or grey or any lotus seeds in one of these with regular compost, nothing will happen. Now why, you might ask? Well, there's a short and simple answer to that. You need potent compost. Now early game, potent compost would be a little bit trickier to get because you actually need to go to the volcano and you need to look for a bluey grey sort of resource, looks like a clump of stone, which is called obsidian. And instead of mining it with an axe, you need to mine it with, hit it rather with a sickle, which will give you raw ash. And then what you do is come back to your base and then put some compost, raw ash, and your third ingredient is blood. And to get blood, what you want to do, got some here if you're killing humans or you're leveling up your altar, keep hold of your human meat, flesh, whatever you want to call it, you get here, pop that in your fluid press, which as you'll see there at the bottom right, we're now making blood, so that produces blood. So you place the blood in here with regular compost and raw ash, and that will again craft at the bottom, as you can see it doing there, and that will give you potent compost. And you can see there you've got the fat grubs and then you've got the potent compost. So what you would then do is you would take your aloe seeds, not your aloe seeds, rather your lotus seeds, whichever they are, place them in your planter, put your potent compost in, and it will produce the blossom for you. As we can see there, start that one as well, you see that's making some more, and this one again, if you start that one, as you'll see that's making more, and you do exactly the same with these as you did with the aloe. As you produce so much blossom, take so much out of the seeds, put them in your drying rack, and that will turn them into more seeds, which again in turn you repeat the process again, you put them back in your planter and it will produce more of that plant again for you. So once you can do this at sort of mid to late game, but it's really easy. So if you need grey lotus, like for your sorcery for example, or now with the latest update with golems, you can put lotuses or lotus powder in your golems to burn them. You will need a lot of them, and like I say, if your base isn't really anywhere near, certainly black lotus, which is over in the jungle, or the yellow lotus, which is kind of all around the map, but some places are more prevalent with it, if you will. There's a lot more of it and it's a lot easier and quicker to grow it, and also for the powder, especially if you're using it for sorcery. You now need the black lotus for the new concussion orbs, which we'll talk about in a follower video coming up shortly, so subscribe if you haven't already and then you won't miss that video if you're interested. And yeah, so that is how you do those. There are also other plants and things out in the world like this here, Azura's Glory, which you get up in the Highlands, which if you're not familiar with that area, the Highlands is all this sort of green brown area in the middle here. You kind of find this Azura's Glory sort of within this sort of area all around here. Really good for your horses, gives them 3 stats, which I believe is strength, vitality and grit, so it's a really good food source for your horses. And then this one, which is called False Mandrake, which again you get in the Highlands mainly. You can get it in other areas, but I find it most there. That is good for making your purple dye in your dyer's bench. The good thing with these is these again only take regular compost. So the aloe, the Azura and these, regular compost, and you're good to go. I think we've covered everything there. If you've any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Let me know if I've missed anything. Like I say, I want to keep this sort of basic and simple for new players. Don't want to make it too in depth and too much detail. But that's all you need to think. aloe or anything like that, just takes regular compost. If you want to make the blossom, you need potent compost, so you might have to wait a little bit. Unless you've got a friend on the server who's already max level and is capable of getting up to the volcano, which you need spiced food and some decent cold weather clothing at least, because it is cold up there. Unless, like I say, you've got a friend on the server who has some or could get you some, then that's what you want to do. Alright then guys, well that's it for this one. Like I say, a nice quick simple one again. Quick guide just to growing a few of the different blossoms or flowers, whatever you want to call them, that are around on the map. So once again, if you enjoyed that, if you found that useful, give me a thumbs up. Just helps the old algorithm to recommend this to more people. Lets me know you guys appreciate this sort of content, and I'll keep doing it. You keep enjoying it and liking it, I'll keep making it. Simple as that. Alright then guys, that's it from me. I'll catch you in the next one. So bye bye for now.